What's up, bosses? I'm JoeMan543. Welcome to JoeCast. Yeah, we're making another one because I think it went well enough last time. I'm joined here with my brother Zach, and I'm Jordan.
And I'm Zach, coming fresh to you from the Team Rocket Garage YouTube channel. We have an R, which does not stand for Republican, but sure, maybe it could, maybe it couldn't. It's from my Honda Civic Type R that I don't own. And thanks for having me, Jordan.
Welcome. It'd be kind of awkward if I just talked to myself for an hour. I'm
What do
sure
you
there's
think, Jordan, too?
I'm sure there's a podcast somewhere out there. It's just someone talking for an hour. I mean, it's plenty of
Isn't that
those.
just any solo YouTube? That's your actual YouTube channel.
Yeah, to be fair, that's just what I do, but I play video games while I do it. Yeah. So last week, I mean, we kind of had some ideas, but for the most part, we were just sort of all over the place. So this time, we actually prepared some topics, and hopefully we'll be on some sort of track here.
Yes, Jordan, I'm excited to be on track with you, Thomas the Tank, in action.
All right.
I'm happy to be here with my number two, the big caboose, Jordan Joeman543.
Why am I the caboose?
If you have to ask.
All right. And also, I'd like to welcome everyone that's here at the start of the stream. Welcome, Bob, Nut Doge Halo, and Destroyer Net. Hopefully, we'll have more join later. We'll see. Okay.
What's up, everybody?
So, Zach, are you ready for the first topic?
Indeed, I am.
Okay. So, as you know, next year, 2024, will be a presidential election year. Now, everyone knows about the general election that happens late in the year in November. However, there are elections that happen early in the year to decide who will be representing that political party. So the Republicans need to decide who's going to be the Republican candidate, and Democrats might do one, but it's kind of looking like they're not going to do one. These are called primary elections. Now, as you know, there are a number of options, number of people running for the Republican nomination. Zach, can you name a few of those people running for the Republican nomination?
Well, unofficially, Donald Trump.
Unofficially.
Yeah, well, he's not competing in any debates. He's kind of hosting his own thing. He's Elon Musking it, if I were to give it a verb.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but Donald Trump is the obvious, and then we've got Vivek Ramaswamy. He's the kind of the main one that I think everybody's kind of hearts are going out to if it wasn't going to be Trump. And then isn't the Florida governor part of it too?
Yeah, Ron DeSantis is also running.
I'm glad to hear it. I like Ron DeSantis, but mostly because I'm a hipster and everybody hates him, so I just default to being supportive.
Yeah. There's also Nikki Haley and Chris Christie. I didn't know anything about them before this, and I still pretty much don't. But you got to throw some unknowns in there, I suppose.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know much. I am a pretty diehard Trump fan. If you can see in my background here, I've got there it is, my Stop Republican Extremism sign up there. It says vote in November 8th.
Just a little bit cut off, but
So some people would argue that I stole that sign, but I would argue that the people who put it out there were in favor of communism. So
it's your sign too.
Yeah, as much mine as it is theirs, because property is a farce. It's
okay. So with that setup right there, here is the first piece of news for this week. Colorado has removed Trump from the ballot, so people can't vote for Trump even if they want to when that primary comes up early this next year. And I'll throw in Vivek Ramaswamy, in protest of this or in solidarity with Trump, has withdrawn his name as well. So that is as two Republican candidates that you can't vote for the Republican Party, specifically in Colorado. I'm sure this will be overturned, or at least it'll have more to come. But yeah, you can't vote for Trump in Colorado as of now.
I'm actually quite excited for the democratic process to take precedence here. I think that Donald Trump is going to garner at least 25% of the write-in ballots. Because, I mean, simply put, first off, he wasn't going to get Colorado no matter what. They've been blue for, I don't know, since the 90s or whatever, and I wasn't born before that, so I don't know otherwise. But yeah, I think that he's going to get a lot of write-in ballots, so he's still going to get some votes in Colorado.
I don't know which states off the top of my head. Most allow you to write in a candidate if they're not on the list. Some don't, though. There's a handful that don't allow it. Maybe you can look that up. But yeah, they've solved the threat to democracy by removing one of the options that you could vote for.
You know, they would be doing everybody a service if they removed everybody but who they wanted to win from the ballots. So
that would solve democcy. Just remove everybody, remove all the wrong choices, and problem solved. If there's no wrong choices, everyone will make the right choice.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Oh man.
Yeah, we get everybody gets to choose between Queen Elizabeth the 13th and Kim Kardashian.
Yeah. So as of now, the other Republican candidates have not withdrawn their names, but it is pretty recent, so we'll see what happens. I don't think any of them stand a chance anyway. I think Vivek is the only one. Maybe Vivek and Ron DeSantis might pose any sort of threat to Trump. Chris Christie and Nikki Haley, they're nobodies. But that means if they don't withdraw their names as well, perhaps it'll make them look good in Colorado. It'll probably make them look worse overall, taking advantage of the situation.
Yeah, it would certainly be interesting, but it's quite interesting to consider that. Like, this is just not something until I saw the news headline today that I thought was even possible.
So there's one thing I forgot to say with the lead up to this. They're citing the 14th Amendment as their cause for it, saying, Trump incited a rebellion and you're not allowed to have rebels running for president. There's better wording to it, but that's the gist of it. Now, he's never been convicted of anything rebellion related. It reaches back to the Civil War. They didn't want people that seceded to the South to run for president, I think. It's an old thing, and I don't know that anybody has actually gotten far enough along to get names on ballots and then had their name removed. I don't think this situation has ever occurred, but yeah.
Yeah, it certainly is interesting, and you would assume that it would push somebody to consider whether or not Trump was actually guilty of almost anything. I can't think of another person who's been run through.
I saw a list today of all the things he's dealt with, like 2 impeachments, yada yada yada, all these crimes. He's been charged with all these crimes, not convicted. Charged just means they threw it at him, and not convicted means it didn't stick. They couldn't find any evidence to actually substantiate it. He's had all this thrown at him, so much investigation, and still nothing has stuck. He has been investigated so hard. He's he's cleaner than I thought he'd be, honestly. But
that's true.
Yeah, he is clean.
If we keep wiping away at Donald Trump, we're gonna start peeling off orange, and I don't think anybody wants that. So
yeah, just imagine you got a plate in the sink and it's totally clean, but you just keep going at it with the sponge. Eventually, you're gonna break the plate. You didn't clean it, you just broke it. I feel like that's where they're getting at.
There's so much plate on this plate.
Yeah.
Honey, get the grinder.
That's an orange plate, obviously.
It was an orange plate. Now it's an orange donut. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm not sure what's going to happen. I am worried about the precedent that this sets
Hmm.
because we exist in a world where everybody is challenging everything in every way that they can right now. So America is really being challenged to
Hmm.
flex every single muscle. And I'm sure someone with biceps may not be good at lifting things, and someone with, a lot of leg muscles, might not be good at bench pressing or doing push-ups or,
Hmm.
putting Christmas lights up. It's an arm heavy task.
So speaking of precedents, there's something interesting going on behind the scenes that perhaps led up to this. All 7 of the Supreme Court justices in Colorado are were appointed by Democrated Democrat elected officials. I can't remember exactly who, but if our justice system is appointed by a particular political party, how can our justice system still be just? Wouldn't it be affected?
It just is, Jordan. No, I agree with you.
I don't
I
have a
think
solution, but it's certainly a problem, I think.
I mean, yeah, I'm inclined to agree, but representation does need to represent the needs and desires of the people they represent.
Hmm.
And I don't know if you've been to Colorado, but yeah, it's pretty wacky. The whole thing is just a college town.
Yeah.
I mean, you meet a 60-year-old woman, and you're just like, "Hey, what are you doing?" I'll go into another bar, and you're like, "Wait, another?" Yeah, just between bars. Yeah, we're bar hopping. I'm
Yeah.
60, but I feel 20. Like,
Hmm. Yeah, I think yeah, Colorado's blue, so him not getting voted in there might not matter, but the precedent is what matters. Um, there there was one article I saw, I forget who in California, one of the top people in California is wanting to cite this precedent to remove him from California. Again, that may not be a loss, but how far will it spread?
that's true. I mean, California 100% is going to be a really, really big and sharp spearhead.
Hmm.
That's for sure.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, I think we might be surprised by some states in the coming election because a lot of people, a lot of people still identify as Democrat, but they're just so fed up with Joe Biden. So if it comes down to
yeah.
Trump versus Biden, like, you know how a lot of people voted for Biden just because they didn't want Trump? They didn't
Now
vote
they're going to
for
vote for,
Biden. Yeah.
yeah, they're just going to vote for Trump now. They're going to be like, honestly, like, it wasn't that
Yeah.
bad.
Yeah, they've kind of gone from voting against Trump to now voting against Biden. Like, they don't particularly like the person they're voting for. They just
They're going to
don't want the other guy.
they're going to go to the Democratic convention. They're going to be like, "Listen, guys, if we all vote for a Democrat, we're going to get an idiot." So, what we need to do, now hear me out, hear me out. We're going to vote for Trump. No, 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 no. If you listen, we're going to vote for Trump. We know he's no, no, there wasn't a Klan meeting. There wasn't a Klan meeting. So, I mean, like, we can maybe he acts racist, but he actually, like, he didn't, stab any people in the face. So,
Yeah.
and he owns a lot of stairs. So, I mean, the chances of him falling up the stairs were much greater than Biden's, and even still,
Hmm.
Biden fell up the stairs.
Yeah.
Literally and figuratively, if you consider his children.
Yeah. Biden falls a lot. Guess that's what happens when you're in that physical status.
What if Joe Biden's like actual like theme song, he like comes out onto stage and everybody's cheering. He's like, "Tonight will be the night that I will fall for you."
Oh
Oh
man.
boy.
Oh, what would
Yeah.
Trump's theme song be then?
Um, I don't
Hmm.
know. What's that
I mean,
Eminem song where he's like, I'm the goat." I
I
don't
don't
know.
know. Rap God? I mean, he doesn't say goat in that, but
Well, I mean, I don't
he,
know how you could tell. Like,
he
I
had,
think Rap God was the actual like world record setting for like fastest speaking in a
I mean, maybe
um
in like a high selling thing. Eminem's not the fastest rapper. He's just pretty fast and very successful. Not saying he don't got skill, but there are faster rappers out there. They don't have what Eminem has.
Oh, Twista. Twista holds the record.
Huh.
598 syllables in 55 seconds. I had
Wow.
trouble saying that, so I mean, it's certainly not me. I'm
I
at least
think
10 under number 1.
I think the average person probably is literally incapable of producing that many syllables that quickly. Like, they don't have the mouth muscles to make that happen.
Yeah, I guess maybe.
Yeah.
Twista is he's a thick boy, so I mean, you got to imagine in order to maintain that type of that physical volumetric if intensity, level of performance. I mean, he's probably got to have some pretty good mouth muscles.
Or maybe it's the inverse. To put out that much energy all at once, he's got to have reserves.
Oh, he's like a Tesla. He's got to have the
a big battery.
Surge that much power at once. Okay.
Yeah. All right. Well, speaking of the justice system.
Yeah, and and notable justice system advocate Twista, rapper from Chicago.
Mm-hmm. All right. So next topic here, Hunter Biden. I'm sure you've at least heard of him, Joe Biden's son. He has not handled his money and taxes the best, and he's been to court a few times, and the can's sort of been kicked down the road. It kind of gets worse each time they kick it down the road now. So, January 11th in Los Angeles, he'll be going to court, being charged for 3 felonies and 6 misdemeanors relating to tax offenses. Because, I guess, supposedly, allegedly, he didn't pay taxes on millions of dollars from his foreign business deals.
Yeah. Just before you continue, I do want to just put it out there. A law that I came to find out during last tax season, actually on the books, it says if you are a criminal and you earn income from criminal activity, you must pay taxes on that income. So if you sell drugs, like say you sell, I don't know, you make $50,000 a year selling, weed or whatever. If you don't pay your taxes on selling that weed, you actually get 2.
Can you imagine being the guy that pays taxes on that, but you don't say what it's from? Like how do you not get charged with tax fraud if you get convicted of selling $50,000 worth of weed in a year?
You have to rat on yourself at the end of the year.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you'll get an audit.
Oh no!
Just all the feds.
Well, Al Capone, the IRS is who got him. So.
Well, so is gonorrhea.
Okay. Both very formidable.
Very formidable opponents. All right, so you were talking about Al Capone rapper. No, Al Capone. Oh, with a C. There we go. Death. There we go.
You spelled Al Capone with a K?
Yeah, and apparently that's a rapper. So
okay.
Yeah. No, C. Al Capone. O-A-L-C. Yeah. Trying to find. Yeah, what was the cause of his death? His heart failed as a result of apoplexy. Apoplexy. What's that?
Isn't heart failure kind of the result of anything that kills you?
Yeah. Now that you say it.
He was shot, but he died of heart failure. His heart just couldn't keep going.
He died he just stopped breathing. He died of natural causes with a co-cause. What's the
comorbidity?
Comorbidity. Thank you, Jordan.
Yeah.
A comorbidity of 36 stab wounds.
28 stab wounds.
28 stab wounds.
If you know,
face,
you know.
Which you would think he would make it easier to breathe, but he did stop breathing. Oh man.
Yeah. So Hunter Biden's facing some stuff. So here's what I think they're trying to do. Okay, I think he can't get away from it. They're gonna kick the can down the road until November 9th. Then he'll be convicted or something. But by that point, it doesn't matter.
November 9th.
They got to kick the can down the road for 11 more months.
No, here's what I'm thinking, and I've had a few theories like this. Maybe they're conspiracy theories, maybe they're not. But my thought is that what if they're doing this just to get him caught up in some legal battle? Because he can't necessarily be charged by another court. Like, he can't go to court for another charge in a different court if he's pending in another court, right? And I don't know if you know this, but they released all of Hunter Biden's like laptop hard drive contents. Did you see that?
I
And
didn't
if
see
you
the
go
contents,
through,
but I heard it was released.
it's absolutely horrifying,
Yeah.
and disgusting. It is censored, like for the things that need to be there, but there is like actual underage, like
Yeah. There's
for
more than
purposes of
tax
YouTube,
fraud
yeah.
going on.
So what I'm thinking is if they just get him, wrapped up in some case that they can, you know, just kick the can down the road, then like, they're just they don't have to worry about that coming out because he's already stuck there. My other concern is that Joe Biden's going to step down, and the only person who's going to be able to take the reins from that is going to be a proud black woman, Kamala Harris.
All right.
I say it that way for a reason. For the
All right.
boys.
My theory just evolved, okay? They kick the can down the road, right? Post-election, they convict him. Then Biden pardons him. Biden's got nothing to lose because he's put in again. He's elected again. Ta-da! Problem solved. But if he pardons him before, that'll look bad, as if Biden needs to not look any worse. Anyway.
if they just put like sticks in his long sleeves and just, puppeted him from behind the wheelchair like Weekend at Bernie's.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if they chose him, like Bernie Sanders stepped down, right? And then Joe Biden took or something. I can't remember.
Has someone made a skit of Bernie Sanders controlling Joe Biden? Reverse Weekend at Bernie's.
He's like, that's not what it is. And it's like, yeah, we know something's wrong if Joe Biden comes in and says, I'm once again asking you for $1 trillion.
Oh, man.
I do with that Discord voice. $1 trillion.
Mm-hmm.
Join the Discord, kitten.
All right. Well, let's finally shift away from attacking the Bidens for a minute. So, next topic. So, we don't know who's going to be vice president with Trump, but he's going to have to pick someone eventually. Trump has close ties to Tucker Carlson, who was on Fox News, now is not on Fox News, but a lot of people still watch him and follow him. Trump has considered having Tucker Carlson as his vice president, and Tucker Carlson hasn't said no to the idea, but he also isn't really enthusiastic about it. Who do you think Trump will pick for vice president?
Here's what I'm wondering. Now, we've got Donald Trump. He's old, right? And everybody on like the Trump train, they're saying, well, Joe Biden's too old. But like Donald Trump is like, he's obviously more spry than Joe Biden, but he is old.
Trump's only a few years behind Biden in terms of numbers.
Yeah, and Betty White danced the day before she died. Like you don't.
I think you'll find Biden dancing.
Not on purpose. Oh, he's breakdancing down the stairs. Up the stairs. Sorry. We only move forward in America, Jack. No, but I'm wondering if Vivek Ramaswamy. I mean, he's young, and maybe not like that young, but he is young looking.
He's like half Trump's age.
Yeah, but if somebody told me he was 25, I'd be like, oh, okay, but clearly he's not. But I'm wondering if like I don't know, maybe they've got like a plan, right? Whoever ends
Hmm.
up on the final ballot's going to be the, you know,
Hmm.
they'll be the VP for the other person. Of course, if Vivek beats out Donald Trump, then Donald Trump will just stab him in the back like he did Pence. But I mean, my boy's a savage.
Hmm. I think Vivek is actually running for 2028, but he doesn't want to come in as a nobody in 2028. So he's getting his name out there, 2024, and maybe for
Okay.
some reason Trump can't run. Sure, Vivek has a good shot, but I'm thinking he's actually gunning for 2028. He just wants to lay the groundwork for it. And Vivek, he is smart. He is perhaps
He
the
is.
smartest person I've seen running for president since I've cared about politics. So he's really smart.
I agree. I would happily vote for him based on the
Yeah.
very little I know, just based on his competence and the way that he
Hmm.
acts. I can tell that I share a lot of values with him.
Hmm.
And I don't know if you know this, but immigrant families are incredibly traditional,
Hmm.
and like they meet traditional and conservative standards very heavily. So
Hmm.
absolutely fine with that because
Hmm.
nobody can claim that he's a racist because,
Yeah.
I mean,
He
so
doesn't fit the same mold. Yeah.
yeah.
So now he
Next,
has.
next question. Should we get affirmative action in the White House? So if a black person runs, they only need 66% of the votes of a white person?
That'd be
Did
some
it
weird
already happen?
precedent.
Is that why we
I mean,
got a stand-up
we
comedian
we
named
already had a black
Nevada?
president, so we're good, right?
Black.
I don't know. Yeah. Anyway, yeah. So I think I think if Trump for some reason couldn't run, Vivek would have a really good shot at it. But something that Trump has that Vivek doesn't have is the notoriety. Everyone knows about Trump. Everybody has at least heard the name, even if they've only just been watching CNN. They still know something about Trump. I wouldn't be surprised if most of the voter base still doesn't even know who Vivek is or anybody that isn't Trump. So, as hard as he campaigns, I think Trump would still win just on notoriety alone.
My problem is I think a lot of people will vote for Donald Trump based purely on the fact that like he stirs the pot.
Mm-hmm.
And I think right now that's not necessarily good for America. And watching Trump's debates and conversations and campaigning, I can tell that he's holding back,
Mm-hmm.
like he's aware. But at the same time, like I think people want that, so they might, want him in the White House and then think,
Mm-hmm.
oh well, this guy's not meeting my expectations of just freaking, you know, owning all the blue-haired libs, which
Mm-hmm.
like realistically, you know, Donald
Mm-hmm.
Trump can just go in and waive like everything Joe Biden's ever done because it's all executive action except for like three things, and then
That's
we're just
true.
back to Trump's America.
Yeah, if Joe Biden has done everything based on executive action, then the new president can wipe it away without needing anything from Congress. If it was passed by Congress, it'd be harder, but yeah, he can wipe away executive
Well,
action easily.
Joe Biden is finding every way he can to to try and get things without congressional or judicial approval. It's
Mm-hmm.
absolutely mind-blowing. I'm now realizing that I haven't been pissed off about that for about 2 years. The reason is that I got so annoyed about it that I had to prioritize my mental health. But um,
Yeah. I remember one time seeing a little video of Biden. He's going through signing his executive orders, and he either holds it up to someone or just points at it. And he's like, "What is this? Like, come on."
yeah, no,
Yeah.
I
But yeah, the
clearly it's not all.
if
Yeah,
he's just building his policy on executive order, it can very easily be wiped away by the next guy in office. So there's that. Now Trump, yeah, he hasn't had quite the fire he did back in 2016, but I agree. I think he's holding back a little bit, but he has stated some policies and stuff he wants to implement once he's in office. Some of which I think would shock a lot of people. For example, convicted drug dealers could face the death penalty.
nice. I think like maybe not like weed dealers, but like if you're selling fentanyl, heck no.
I would agree to a point that drug users, I think, should get a light sentence. I see them as victims to a point, but drug dealers, they know what they're doing. I think they should face a heavier penalty, far heavier than drug users.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah, I think that we need to be really, really, really hard on crime. I think
Hmm.
we're doing the opposite right now, especially in California and New York. And that's why people who commit crimes are, or people who are fleeing areas where there's a lot of crime, are coming to America because they
Hmm.
know that they can either be in a place where there's no crime or they can be in a place where crime is not even a theory, and you just go there, steal stuff, and walk out. And it, you know,
So I had an idea earlier today.
mm,
In San Francisco, apparently, it's not a crime of shoplifting as long as it's under $1,000 in value. So what if you back a truck up to the store? You come in, you take $900 worth, put it in the truck. You come in, you take $900 worth, you put it in the truck. Those are individual shoplifts, all of which fall under the value, right? You could
yeah.
empty out
So
a store in half hour.
no, no. So there is stores are working against that. In fact, Walmart is implementing AI to with their security cameras. So people who are stealing, who land under that limit,
Hmm.
they have facial recognition. So their security officers are actually looking. And so if someone's already stolen $900 worth of stuff, they go in, grab, say, a pair of Nikes that's $110 or something. They walk
Hmm.
out. All of a sudden, that's $110,
Hmm.
and they've defeated the threshold. The
Yeah.
threshold is not per occurrence.
Oh, okay. It's in total.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's what I hear. I'm not an expert on it, but
Okay.
I've heard talking about that, and with
That would
the
make
power
more
of AI
sense.
right now. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure they've just got an iPad. They're just like, oh,
Hmm.
look at that. There's pictures of people
Yeah.
with their stats above them, like an old school video game.
Well, I know facial recognition has gotten really, really good. Um, like, you only need like 50 pixels of someone's face, it seems, to recognize their face with facial recognition. And
Hmm.
then I'm sure the stores have a layout of their products and their values and all that. And so, yeah, probably not that hard to make AI figure out, okay, this person was in this area and recognizing them. Oh, now they're at the front. Get them, security.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And I don't know. I'm wondering. I actually saw a theory of a store that would sell everything, and I only saw this like once, but it's just coming to mind now. They had this thing where they would mark everything for sale in the store as like $1,000, and then if it's like a candy bar, $1,000.99.
Hmm.
And you get up to the register, and they say, "Okay, cool. Thanks for being a customer. We'll give you $1,000 off of your purchase." Right? So that way, because if somebody goes and steals a candy bar, if it's priced at $1,099, then all of a sudden it meets that threshold. Like people are really doing anything that they can to try and survive.
You imagine
Think about it. You own a
you're in
business
jail,
worth a
right?
$250,000. Like you can't afford to have people walking out like that. Like that's a
Yeah,
small business.
yeah. No, for sure they need some way to fight back against it. But you imagine, you know, dude steals a Snickers, goes to jail because it was $1,000.99 or $1,000.99. And guy asks him, "What are you in for?" I stole a Snickers.
Class B felony.
Yeah.
Point
They
eight
say
seven
I'm not me
ounces
when
of
I'm hungry,
chocolate
and
and
clearly
nougat.
they're
Yeah.
correct.
No, I am me when I'm hungry.
Yeah. I, I don't identify as a shoplifter when I'm hungry, but
Oh my gosh. I identify as, oh my gosh. I'm just looking forward to like people like, well, yeah, but my net worth, I have $72,000 in student debt. So if I steal the Snickers, I'm only worth $71,000 in debt. So technically you're stealing from me. Like, I don't know. That's some sovereign citizen crap right there.
yeah. I don't know. I feel like basic morals and decency, and I would consider not stealing a basic moral. Um,
It's just honesty.
yeah, just and we're
Stealing,
we're not
cheating
talking
on your
about
spouse,
like someone drops
lying,
a 20 in
false
the
setting.
parking lot and you scoop it up. We're talking things are
Or
on the
you just
shelf
find
clearly
a 20
labeled.
and you don't report it or something. Yeah, like
Yeah.
actively. Yeah.
Like you actively go in a store, you don't buy anything else. You know you're there to steal, and then you do it. I feel like morals in general have just degraded a lot. I have this theory. The short version is that we've gotten so wealthy and life has gotten so easy that people feel they can get away with all this stuff, and everything has eroded because there's no challenge. There's no need to learn and grow anymore. Life has just gotten so easy that everything's falling apart.
Well, committing crimes and being dishonest and things like that, I mean, they used to be so taboo. Like
Mm-hmm.
you'd feel shame even if you did it. I mean, you think about like the movie Aladdin, like he had to steal the bread and he ran all the way through the town and this, that, and the other, or the melon, just so like him and Apu could eat.
Mm-hmm.
But like they feel the shame and they're like, I'm sorry, I don't know what else to do, but I have to eat. I'm a person, I'm a human, I need
Mm-hmm.
food. And like there was that like level of shame, but like now, I mean, here we are 30 years later from the release of that I love that movie.
Great movie.
It is a good movie, a fabulous movie.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just, and Robin Williams. But yeah, just having all of that, just having disappeared, the shame is gone.
Mm-hmm.
People are shameless. I mean, anything. I mean, prostitution right now is probably the biggest. People may argue the biggest it's been in the last 150 years
Mm-hmm.
in America.
Yeah. Yeah,
Like
maybe.
via OnlyFans, excuse me.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, well, that's another indicator of the
Lack of shame.
lack of shame, the degradation of morality. Like people just don't care. They don't have that in them anymore.
We should try and track down some like stupid, well, not a stupid OnlyFans girl, but someone who has like those values, and like I shouldn't call it stupid. Like that's not my intent. Less than it seems less than wise to me, but it's not my life. I'd love to try and understand someone else. So anybody who's watching, certainly comment if you think that would be something cool to see. Jordan, would you debate?
The way the way you phrase that. Let's track down someone we find on OnlyFans. I don't know.
No. We're not tracking her down on OnlyFans, but all it takes is just looking online for someone who has an OnlyFans and be like, "Here, you want $10 to be on a podcast? We have 10 viewers." Like, I'll split that with you.
No, that's an interesting point.
You want your money? You better stay on the podcast. That's right. You stay on the podcast.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know a lot about that, but it seems like a lot of them do it because it's easy money,
Yeah.
and because that money matters more to them than any sort of shame or saving face.
Well, it's selling shame, but the thing is you will always pay for that.
Mm-hmm.
You're financing that money with emotional toil.
Mm-hmm.
And like just because you don't feel it right now when you're,
Yeah.
18, 19, 20 years old.
It's fairly new. It'll be interesting to see over time what comes of that.
Absolutely. Yeah. Sorry, you had a different subject. I apologize for
That's all right. We at least have a guide to return to. All right. Well, going from that to the southern border. So this week, a new record has been set. New record, 14,509 crossings of the border in one day was set earlier this week. It's a new record.
I'm not sure what to be more sad about, the tax implication or that Joe Biden will now get 14,000 more votes this upcoming November.
Well, the interesting thing is Texas has been dealing with this for decades. And there's just so many people they can't deal with it, so they're busing them up to other states. And then the states, let's say Illinois, Chicago's complaining like, we can't take care of these people, and Texas is like, we've been doing this for decades. Deal with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, build a wall around Chicago. Fix your problem.
Can you imagine if Illinois was like, you know what, we're gonna send all of these immigrants up to a place with socialized health care.
They just keep
and to the
going
north,
up.
we're going just dump them on the other side of Canada. Oh, can you imagine the freaking the Underground Railroad, United States' solution to illegal immigration? Just take them, be like, hey, yeah, come on, this is how we get under the wall, and then you spend like a month underground, like sneaking through America, and then it's like, okay, just climb this fence, and then you're in America, and they're like, ho, 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 welcome to Canada.
What's the Canadian border like?
I mean, it's secured by us, so.
Well, yeah, but like apparently the southern border, the Mexican border isn't secured. We don't have a fence all the way across. Do we have one on the Canadian border?
Well, the Canadian border is a little
never
different
hear about it.
because it's freezing cold and wet. So if there's not a fence, I mean, there's actual like life-threatening conditions. At the Mexican border, you just buy some old pickup truck and fill up both gas tanks and just nail it to the border, and then just walk the rest of the way, leave the truck, you know?
Yeah, somewhat easier to cross desert than snowy forest.
Yeah. The extent of my knowledge on that is based on the hit TV show, Trailer Park Boys. Took me a second there. Sorry, processing error. It's a Pentium 3 up here.
Yeah, I don't think the Canadian border has very much that we've set up, but I think I agree that it just has natural deterrence. You imagine you're trying to cross the border. Bears.
Avalanches of maple syrup.
I gotta watch out for those.
Yeah, it's a sticky situation.
Yeah, but yeah, for sure. Way too much across the southern border.
Here's something that I've thought about in my own life. I've thought about doing this with my neighbor's property as well. I've thought about taking my chain link fence on the west side of my property, you know, the one, and taking it down and building a new fence, but moving it 2 feet into my own property, I do lose access to that land. However, I have unlimited access to dump as much trash on my own property as I want. So I can just chuck my trash over the fence. And
just drop it over the other side?
Yeah.
Well, eventually it's going to spill onto theirs, right?
Oh, that's not my problem.
Okay.
You should have built a fence to stop the trash from coming. That's what I did.
Yeah.
No, but that's my thought. What if we do that with the Canadian border? Move it 10 feet south of the actual border, and then anybody who immigrates illegally would just like, hey, here's your plane ticket. You fly them up there, parachute them out, and they just land on that 10-foot strip. They just can't come south now. They have unlimited free access to everything they want. Free socialized healthcare, education.
I'm just imagining the implications of
load
up a plane of people that don't want to be on the plane and then force them out with a parachute. Like, good luck. When you can see the ground, pull this string.
No habla español. Oh, sorry. No habla español.
Well, no, it'd be Canada, so it'd be French.
Yeah, we're not dumping French people in Canada. We're dumping Canadians in Mexico and Mexicans in Canada.
Oh, that's perfect. You swap it, and then, I don't know, new problems.
Can you imagine the cartel versus, like, the Canadian Mounties? There's just a portal, like you walk over the edge and you just portal through the nation of Mexico.
There was a movie that came out like within the last year, Cocaine.
Last year, huh?
Yeah, Cocaine Bear. It'd just be that going on every week if the cartel was up there.
They're just giving fentanyl and cocaine to kids and sending them up there and just like
no. Okay, here's what would happen. Okay.
The other ones
every week there's a cocaine bear, right? So then we build a border not to stop the cartels, but to stop the bears.
Oh my gosh. Well, they would stop the cocaine bears would be the Canadian military. Is that the Canadian invasive force into Mexico? Is that what I'm hearing?
No.
Or is Mexico?
I'm saying the cartel in Canada winds up creating all these cocaine bears, which then end up coming south, and then that's a problem for the USA. So then we build a wall to stop the bears.
Okay.
So it's got to be able to withstand a cocaine bear. That's a strong wall.
I mean, the wall Trump was building could certainly withstand a cocaine bear. That sucker is thick.
Yeah. So just build more.
That's fair.
Yeah.
That's a good idea. We should build more wall. Hey, call Joe.
Which who?
Joe Man 544.
Oh, okay.
His last name Biden. Yeah. Let's get him in on this. See what he thinks.
Yeah, sometimes it's awkward talking about Joe Biden when I am also Joe.
Yeah. Joe Biden earlier than Joe Man Biden.
Yeah. Hey, what do you know about nuclear fusion technology?
I know as much as most people don't.
So nothing.
I
I think. Okay, let's start off with this.
I have a book of everything that I know about nuclear power, and it's the text is really small. You probably can't read it, but I have cocaine bear vision and. Sorry, continue.
Yeah. So in my Discord, link in the description, someone wanted us to also talk about some science. They wanted us to talk about nuclear fusion. So, do you know how nuclear fusion produces technology? Or produces energy? Or technology. It produces either.
I know how it obliterates technology in the 1940s, but otherwise,
in the 40s,
no.
there was no fusion, to be fair.
Well,
that's fission.
Yeah, well, it
Right.
fused with Hiroshima.
So nuclear fusion is how the sun works. It squeezes so tight that hydrogen becomes helium, helium becomes whatever those steps are. So it squeezes so tight that you get new atoms and then energy is released. That's the basic idea of fusion. Fission, like what you're thinking of, is when you have a really big atom like uranium and then you make it unstable and then it breaks apart and then energy is released that way. So two sides similar but opposite. One's big, one's little things getting squished, and one's a big thing breaking apart.
Yeah, hyper and hypo, totally.
Yeah. Anyway, so last year, I believe, fusion was finally energy profitable, sort of. So you may wonder why fusion isn't like a thing. Like, why don't we have fusion power plants? Nuclear power plants use uranium and whatever. We have those. We understand that pretty well. But you're probably wondering, why isn't fusion a thing? It's because it's really, really hard to simulate the core of the sun to make fusion happen. But those are the conditions.
It would be difficult to imitate the core of the sun.
Yeah. But earlier this year, in a type of reactor called a tokamak reactor, what they did all this fancy stuff with lasers and I think tritium, hydrogen with extra neutrons on it. They fired lasers at it, and basically more energy came out of that reaction, of it fusing, than those lasers put into it. Now, the whole facility used way more energy, but that little reaction took in less energy than it put out. So it was the first time that fusion, just focusing on that little reaction, was profitable from an energy standpoint.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean that is certainly really exciting. I am looking forward to seeing like where battery technology is going to go.
Hmm.
It makes me wonder if batteries are, I mean, we've got like nano cells, right, for batteries that are getting absolutely mind blowing. You're talking security cameras that you run for months without being plugged in, right?
Uh-huh.
Wi-Fi, video, all that. Um, it makes me wonder where battery technology is going to go, but also, excuse me, it also, I wonder if we're just going to have nuclear power in our pocket at some point.
Yeah, so the difficulty with nuclear fission is you need a critical mass. You need so much of your material to make the reactions happen. But fusion, on the other hand, doesn't have a minimum. It doesn't have a critical mass it has to reach. You could just have two hydrogen atoms, definitely fit in your pocket, and just make those atoms collide.
I probably have
At
two hydrogen atoms in my pocket right now,
Yeah,
honestly.
maybe some
Yeah.
methane in there too. Anyway, have those collide,
You're so
and
funny.
then you harvest that energy somehow.
Does your wife know how proud of yourself you are?
She has me and also two boys. Anyway,
That poor thing.
yeah. So yeah, I mean, it's just a matter of making the hydrogen collide. Doesn't matter how much. I mean, more is more energy, but make it collide and harvest that. There's no critical mass to it. So fusion could one day get small and be good and useful. But it's taken us so long just to get to it being energy profitable. Um, and again, I'll reiterate, it didn't produce more energy than the whole facility took to make that reaction happen. It just produced more energy than it then was applied to those hydrogen
Yeah.
atoms. Yeah.
Well, but that's what it takes. I mean, Thomas Edison burnt out how many light bulbs,
Hmm.
and whoever invented the battery, I'm sure, or used a potato or whatever. I mean, I'm sure they
Fun
thought
fact:
like,
batteries are older than Jesus.
really?
Yeah. There have been some old things found, basically clay pots with vinegar and some metal and stuff in them. Um, but they were batteries. I don't know what they were used for, but all the chemicals equated to what would be a battery. So yeah, older than
Yeah,
Jesus.
I didn't know that. Well, Jesus is the Alpha and the Omega, so I mean,
Okay, older than his
age
physical form.
Jesus surpasses age, I think,
Yeah.
as you know it, if we want to talk about actual like philosophical perspectives. But yeah, regardless, I mean, you got to think firstly how disappointed the person who invented a battery was to find out that it only lasted so long. They're like, oh my gosh, I just have this now. This is just forever now. And then it just stops out of nowhere. They're like,
Hmm.
dang it.
I'm sure there's probably information out there I could research, but yeah, I can't imagine what you would even do with that. Like, let's say you have electricity 2,000 years ago. Let's say you take a car battery with you 2,000 years ago, just the battery. What do you do with that? You don't have wire, you don't have lights, you don't have a motor, and to create those things, you don't have the technology, you don't have the means to create a copper wire. You imagine 2,000 years ago what it would take to mine, process, and make a copper wire? Yeah, I don't know what they'd do with it way back then, but yeah.
I mean, if you had two batteries, you could salvage one battery for the other, or just
So
connect them negative, positive, positive, negative, and then have one big firework
where's the
for the
positive
second.
on a clay pot?
No, no. If you have two batteries, right? Positive,
Yeah.
positive, negative, negative. You boop, boop, boop,
Uh huh.
and then
And then they
they
explode.
weld themselves together, and you know,
Uh huh. Yeah. But yeah, I like the idea of fusion technology. I think we got a long way to go. Now, there's
Samsung's going to introduce the new Galaxy Note, now less explosive and with nuclear batteries.
yeah, you imagine, a few years ago when Samsung was having all those battery melting and exploding problems, like amidst all of that, they introduced a nuclear battery. I think Samsung devices were already disallowed on airplanes for a time because of that. But it'd be like you're not even allowed near a government building if you have a Samsung.
So if you had, say you just have the two hydrogen cells, right?
Yeah.
If they interact poorly enough to explode, how large of an effect is that on the population?
It wouldn't really explode. So, well, it depends. So, the very first time fusion was ever produced by man on this planet was what they did is they basically. Sorry, I got to backpedal a little bit. So, a nuclear bomb, your basic Hiroshima dropped nuclear bomb, it works.
Basic,
Yeah, it works by you have your uranium or plutonium, and it's separated, but you've got your two masses in the middle here, and then you need to force them together really, really quickly. So you put explosives around that, trigger them at exactly the same time, boom, puts everything together, critical mass, boom, you just had a nuclear fission bomb. It exploded, and because that material came together so quickly. So, nuclear fusion bomb, what they did is they took those, they surrounded some tritium with it, or whatever.
Jordan, you're going to get a channel strike for telling people how to make these things.
If you can manage to set up a plant to
Goes to Amazon.
to make uranium 235.
Uranium? Youran.
Yeah. Anyway, if you can create an enrichment plant without the government knowing, kudos to you. Anyway, so bunch of basic fission atomic bombs around some tritium. So you got explosives, atomic bombs, fission in the middle. It compresses it so hard. Standard explosives can't compress it well enough. That's why you need to use those to trigger the atomic bombs. Those compress it enough. Then you have your
two
fission,
nuclear
your
fusion bombs that activate a fission bomb.
No. Here's the funny thing. I think they have gone a few levels deep with that. Standard explosion, fission, fusion, fission, fusion. I think that might be as far as they've gone with it. Anyway,
a family tree of screwing you up because you Pearl Harbored us.
Yeah. Anyway, point is, that was, I think, 1956 when the first bomb went off that used a fusion reaction in the middle.
Wow.
So, 1956, let's say, I think that's the date, and it's taken, let's say, let's make it easy and say 70 years. I'm off by a few years, but let's say 70 years to go from the very first producing that reaction to getting a profitable energy reaction. Then how long will it take for it to be actual profitable and usable and viable?
Yeah.
I think it is doable, but it's going to take a long time to get there. Fission was easy. You just poke the atom and it explodes.
Okay. So, wait, so atoms are different sizes?
Yeah.
Oh,
atoms,
I thought an atom was just like the smallest unit of measurement.
So, you're familiar with the periodic table of elements, right?
Yeah. Air, water, earth, wind, fire.
Yeah. And a few more. So an atom is a collection of protons, maybe neutrons, and electrons. Your most basic atom is hydrogen, which is just one proton, positively charged, one electron, negatively charged. And the electron goes around. I would say it orbits, but we've found stuff recently. It's more complicated than that. But anyway, that's your most basic one. And then add on some more protons, get helium, lithium, etc. Sometimes they need neutrons to balance it, though. Too many neutrons, it'll be unbalanced. Too few, it'll be unbalanced. And if it's unbalanced, it will break apart until it's happy and balanced again. That's how you get radioactive decay. So uranium breaks into cesium and other stuff, and that'll keep breaking down until it's like super stable. So
okay.
Oh, and I should say uranium, as it's found in nature, is usually stable. We have to either add neutrons or separate the stable from the unstable to get enough for that critical mass I mentioned earlier.
We do that for everything. Human population, financial
Yeah,
mistakes.
separate the stable from the unstable. Yeah.
Have you
Anyway,
ever heard of Paveglia Island? That's what Italy did. Anybody who acted any sort of crazy, it was like Salem witch trials in Italy. They'd just be like,
huh?
"Oh, that one's loony," and they'd be like, "Off to Paveglia," and then they do lobotomies and
Better than
stuff.
actual Salem.
I don't know, man.
I mean, they burned people, so
Yeah, Paveglia Island, you would get like they would do like like try to transplant brains and stuff. Like
sorry.
crazy,
We're
creepy.
we're not
Yeah,
talking about just being banished to an island. We're talking like a laboratory.
yeah. No, it's
Oh,
super creepy. Yeah,
oh,
do some. Yeah, if you
okay,
get a chance, do some research on it.
okay.
But cool. Well,
One more thing about the whole
yeah.
nuclear fusion thing. There is hope to shorten how much time is ahead of us for making nuclear fusion more
Okay.
usable. So the tokamak reactor, the one that finally made profitable energy, it's kind of this donut shape. They have all these electromagnets to like squeeze it in a donut kind of configuration.
Okay.
There's a new reactor design called a helion reactor, and it's kind of like an hourglass on its side. And what they do instead is accelerate the tritium from the outside towards the center. So then from these two sides, they slam into each other. Um, and that it's still fairly new, but that's looking a lot more promising. So
Yeah,
perhaps
that's
fusion will have some good stuff going.
sorry, I thought someone had showed up. Yeah, I'm really excited to see where it goes. I don't know if in our lifetime we're going to see anything like that.
Hmm.
However, um, about 50% or more of the power it takes to run a phone is based on like the power that goes through the screen.
Hmm.
Obviously, LEDs, massive jump in technology over like a fluorescent tube, obviously more durable,
Hmm.
brighter, easier controllable, more packageable, durable. Um, if you consider like the like Ray-Ban has these new glasses coming out, they're smart glasses. So they just show you stuff on the sunglasses.
Hmm.
So you just wear these Ray-Bans and they've got like a camera so you can be like, "What's that?" and it'll just
It
like
sounds like Google Glass. You
yeah,
remember
yeah.
Google Glass?
It's been a long time. That was Windows based. Ray-Ban is like a total like
Mm.
yeah, I don't know if you've seen the commercials for it, but like you talk to them, it's like a smart device like an
Huh.
Alexa. Never mind.
Interesting.
Got like seven of them. Yeah, I'm interested to see where that goes because like you might have people walking around just like at a college. Like if you're in a college and there's a professor, you'd just be like, "Hi, Professor Smith," and he'd be like, "I don't know you," but it's like it's just popped up on my glasses.
Huh.
Why would I introduce myself to you? You work here, you know?
Hmm. Interesting. There's a different
And there's
conversation to
no
have
decency.
another time
Yeah.
about all this information being accessible everywhere.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Well, cool. It is 9 o'clock, so I think we got to shut it down. I
Hmm.
think people are kind of waning anyways. Did you have any final thoughts you wanted to get in here?
No. I'm glad we're able to stick to topics a bit more this time, though. I think that was good. We'll see.
Yeah,
It'll
yeah, I
take some
think
time to get into a groove, I think.
exactly. Yeah, and I think having some structure, right, and something to stick to is good, but
Hmm.
also, I think people really like the Joe Biden drama. But
All right.
uh, well, cool. Yeah, thanks everybody for watching. If you like me or you think I'm handsome, I'm married, but you can find me on YouTube at Team Rocket Garage. If you Google Team Rocket Garage, I'm the first one. If you YouTube Team Rocket Garage, I'm the first one. And I'm on Facebook under Team Rocket Garage. I also have a TikTok, team.rocket.garage, but I don't post much there. If you follow me, maybe I will post. I don't know.
All right. Yeah, thanks everyone.
Shamelessly promoting to one person watching right now. Sorry. Go ahead, Jordan.
Yeah. Thanks everyone for watching. I'm JoeMan543. I also have my Friday streams, 7 p.m. Mountain Time. You can catch me there playing video games usually, and got a 24-hour live stream coming up, New Year's Eve, to bring in the new year. Link in the description to my Discord if you want to be maximum up to date on stuff. You could also just subscribe. That's generally pretty good too.
Subscribe to JoeMan543.
Yeah. So thanks everyone for watching, and See you later. Peace out, everyone. Bye
Bye,
bye.
everybody.